Hi, happy holidays. Jeff Chin here, um, completing the end of the year project. So here we go, my reflection and basically what I learned from Leaving to Learn. So here we go. The first question I had when I was trying to put this all together was I wonder why was this book written? So I realized that we always got to try new things in life and come at things a different way. You know, it's the dynamic nature of us to always want to increase. But specifically, these guys, I feel, um, had a trend going, and over a long period of time in the United States, dropout rates have decreased until we got to the point of 2006. You can see right here. Um, uh, then they increased, and then in 2013 is when this book was, published. So they did the research before because these two gentlemen were experiencing this decrease in dropout. I'm sorry, this increase in dropout rates. And it was an odd thing that because the trend was, of course, going down. We were in a positive direction. Then I said, well, why? Here we go. That's basically the big question was why? Why did that happen? Why were we doing good and then start stumbling? So first of all, let's talk about engagement. And I feel there's three types, for the child or behavioral engagement, that's the conduct, the work, the involvement, the participation, the persistence. Is someone going to do their homework? Are they going to obey and not obey, but are they going to follow the temperature and the the discourse of the classroom, or are they going to be resistant? Okay. Emotional engagement, self-report related to feelings of frustration. They're bored. Interest, anger, satisfaction, the student-teacher relations, and work orientation. Those would be emotional engagement things. Cognitive engagement is investment in the learning. They want to fix problems. Oh, flexible problem solving, independent work styles, coping with perceived failure, preference for challenge, and on and on. So um, on the other side of the coin, and this comes right from the book, disengagement. Uh, So why are kids now, or when this book was written, why was the trend in disengagement? And it was because of the big four and the deeper four. This is what they came up with. So as you can read, sorry, let me go back. Academic failure, behavior, life events, disinterest. Academic failure is easy because people start disengaging in junior high school because um, things get more complicated and children aren't willing to stretch themselves, or they haven't been taught, more so it's more accurate, haven't been taught on how to stretch themselves to accommodate heavier workload. So we have behavior, those life events, disinterest, and we'll get into the other ones. There were deeper is not mattering, not fitting in, unrecognized talents, and restrictions. So um, I feel that the kids are disengaging because schools, and I would also throw the teachers in there, they're not fun. They're not willing to get out of their comfort zone to try new things. So what we came up with is kids, or schools in general, start in kindergarten with play and exploration, as you can see here, and building relationships. And it's I feel that kindergarten teachers and the elementary school teachers do such a great job in those younger grades to massage and to help the kids develop is um, in a better way. But that that sort of kicks off or falls away in middle school, as you can see here, because all of that creativity, all that fun, the fun is taken out. And then in high school, you know, as the book relates to, is we take all the fun out of it, we take all the creativity out of it, we put them in, rows and columns and expect them to do good on tests. So, and that's not fun. So how are we going to combat that? Well, we have we can approach it from different ways. And first of all, we got to understand why. So pedagogy, engaged, I wrote that down. They feel, children feel they're engaged, or they can be engaged when they're having fun. Okay, when teachers are making learning interesting, and this wasn't really highlighted in the book, but I feel that this is accurate, a disciplined classroom environment. And that might be hit on in the book, but more so if kids are interested, and invested, they're not necessarily going to need discipline. So I understand that, but I wanted to highlight that for everyone. And students feel disengaged when a class is, of course, boring, when there is an undisciplined environment, and when there's too much writing, according to Kearsley and Schneiderman. And that was way back in 1998 when they came up with this. Let's see, they've got a couple more I'm going to get to. So they would be disengaged for things like content, whether or not students like the subject and its difficulty, and do teachers, do they like the teacher? Here we go again with relationships. I feel when I read that, I hear relationships. Do the teachers talk too much? That's reflective on myself because I teach chemistry and it's very complex, so I feel I over-explain. So I'm going to reflect on that. And this is interesting because this we're going to get to the ones out of the book, but in '98 these guys came up with having no friends and being left out. Those were the deeper four that I brushed over earlier. And then personal issues, which is also in the deeper four, or hungry, tired family issues, things of that nature. So this one is a good one I want to go over out of the book, and it's the students' expectations. And it's what have you done for me lately? I think of that because, it's a relationship, and as I stated before, the kids are in the elementary school and everyone's happy. It's like a marriage, you and your wife, you get married, or your husband or your partner. The first 6 years are blissful, and then you have to start doing the maintenance. You have to start doing the hard things, thinking outside the box, and that's where, in this case, middle school doesn't, or middle school is trying. That's more accurate to understand that, and then they can change and include the creativity and include the fun. So in any case, that's what the authors of the book came up with for these student expectations. So what do kids want? How can we understand what the kids want so that we can give it to them? Okay? And so it comes up to these things. These are relationships, relevance, authenticity, application, choice, challenge, play, practice, time, and timing. Now, if you pull these apart, you can see they're all derived from decades of cognitive and developmental psychology. And, Piaget, Vygotsky, the zone of proximity, those are all built into this. And Dweck and, of course, others. So how do we engage students? How do we get them to click in so that they'll be present in classrooms? Okay, so what works? Providing students with opinions and involving them in decision making. That's the voice and the choice. We're always going to come back to that, the voice and the choice. Problem of engagement in the classroom at school. So similarly, researchers report that student participation in goal setting leads to more positive outcomes. So, excuse me. We all know that engaging everyone it leads to a community, sort of a village type of an atmosphere, and that always has better outcomes than not. So what is my role in this as a teacher? As you can see over here in the picture, I wanted to get communication, talking. Excuse me. So what's my to-do list? What's the big takeaways that I'm going to, no, this is the to-do list that's coming later. So get to know your students on a personal level. That was more so in the end of the book, on how to apply the leaving to learn, essential features, if you will. So get to know your students on a personal level. You provide accurate, timely, and equal access to information and skills. We can connect experts in industry to students, and they need many different choices. Students do, because you really don't know what you want to do. If you haven't figured out what you want to do in life, as my 3 kids didn't. So the only thing I said was, well, you got to start somewhere and just figure out what you don't want to do. But that means you have to have options and you have to try a lot of things. So, which means, yeah, we need to give them many options. That will help increase engagement. And the curriculum has to be co-created by teachers and industry. That's when we're getting into the work-based learning aspect of keeping kids engaged, because not everyone needs to go to college. I didn't. I went to firefighter school because college wasn't for me. And um, so, and let's see what we have next. This is another thing, not in the book, but I felt when I was doing the research to complete the other requirements, I found this and it resonated with me. It's relate, create, and donate to help keep kids engaged. So relate, you have a team effort that involves communication, planning, management, and social skills. So that kind of encompasses a lot of those 10 features, those 10 things that kids want. Here we have create. So students choose a problem to solve. They conduct their own projects and design the experience themselves. That's kind of like voice and choice again. And here we have donate, and that's getting out into the community. It's not necessarily doing work for free, but it's more so getting out there, making a contribution, making a student be accountable to an outside customer. And you know, kids will always, I feel, kids tend to overperform when a stranger is involved. You know, like when you have kids and you send them over to someone else's house, they always behave better. So it's our job to make sure the kids have access to those opportunities to step outside their comfort zone, because they have to be stretched. So focus and takeaway for me from the book. I teach chemistry, and I have difficulty relating to all of them because I have a specific set of I used to have a specific curriculum that I had to use, but now I have the NGSS, which I'm gonna get over here, and that leaves me to have a lot of latitude now because I don't have to, you know, go from the atom to, you know, molecular theory to moles, you know, just like it has been done since 1920. You know, it's just, hey, let's pick a problem out in the world and then I'll teach the things that I want through that problem. And the NGSS lets me do that. And this book gave me tons of examples on how to do that. So also another takeaway for me is that every day is an opportunity to influence a future citizen. I feel, and the book related to that, it was standardized assessments are overrated. They can and should be dynamic. They have to. And so lastly, I have to create an environment that is dynamic, disciplined, creative, rigorous, and challenging. That rigorous was part of their vision of productive learning. And that was very important because the learning has to be rigorous, and that goes back to where I was in the beginning, that it has to be disciplined. So I'm a little bit more of a disciplined person, so I'm going to include that and keep that in my chemistry, and hopefully that'll work out. So that's it, guys. The recommendations overall. Read it. It's fast. It uses simple words with everyday examples. Take what you like. It resonates with you. It's like an arrow in your quill. There's a lot of great examples in there. And throw away the rest. Okay, there's the references, and that's it. Thank you. Merry Christmas.